All right, let's talk about research. Are you tired of just drowning in a sea of totally irrelevant search results? Well, today, we're going to crack that code. I'm handing you the playbook to master the academic literature search so you can find exactly what you're looking for and find it fast.
So first things first, let's get one thing straight. A strategic academic search is a completely different beast than just casual Googling. On one hand, you have casual Googling, which it's kind of like panning for gold in a muddy river. Yeah, you might find a little nugget, but you're mostly just going to end up with a boot full of mud. But a strategic search? That's like having a treasure map that leads you straight to the mother lode. It's structured, it's credible, and it gets you deep into the real knowledge.
Okay, so here's our playbook for today. We're going to cover primary versus secondary sources, then we'll get into your essential research toolkit. After that, we'll master your search strategy, figure out how to evaluate and organize what you find, and finally, we'll talk about going from that search to a real synthesis. Let's do this. All right, section 1, primary versus secondary sources. Let's start with the absolute fundamentals, understanding the building blocks of knowledge. Because really, if you don't know the difference between these two, you're going to have a tough time. So what's the big difference? It's actually pretty simple. Think of it like this. A primary source is the original experiment, the brand new data, the aha moment. It's the first time those findings are ever published. A secondary source, on the other hand, is someone else coming along, looking at all those primary sources, and then synthesizing or interpreting them. It's the what does it all mean part. And here are some concrete examples to make it stick. For primary literature, we're talking about things like peer-reviewed journal articles. That's the gold standard, right? Conference papers, patents, that kind of stuff. For secondary, think review articles or textbooks. And then you even have tertiary stuff like handbooks and encyclopedias, which are even further removed from the original research. So pretty clear cut when you see it laid out. Okay, so now that we know what we're looking for, the next big question is, where do we find it? This brings us to section 2, your essential research toolkit. It's all about choosing the right tools for the job. Now, this is a really important distinction. You might think, why can't I just use Google? Well, a general search engine it's fine for getting a quick lay of the land. It's accessible, sure. But there's no quality control. Academic databases, though, that's a whole different world. We're talking curated, peer-reviewed content with super advanced search tools. It's all about efficiency and getting straight to the good stuff. And these are some of the heavy hitters you should definitely know about. If you're in electrical engineering or computer science, you're going to live in IEEE Xplore and the ACM Digital Library. For more general science, ScienceDirect is awesome. And hey, don't forget about patent databases like USPTO. You can find some seriously cutting-edge stuff in there. All right, section 3, this is where the magic really happens. We are now mastering your search strategy. We're going from just kind of throwing keywords at a search bar to being precise, surgical, and getting the exact results we want. And it really comes down to a simple 4-step process. First, you pick your keywords and think of synonyms. Then you use these powerful things called Boolean operators. We'll get to those. Step 3, you apply filters, like for date or document type. And finally, number 4, you use citation chaining. Oh, this one is a game changer. It lets you look at a great paper and see who they cited, and then see who has cited them since. It's like a time machine for ideas. Okay, let's talk about those operators. First up is AND. This is your tool for narrowing things down. If you search for AI and predictive maintenance, you're telling the database, hey, I only want articles that have both of these terms. It's perfect for connecting two essential concepts. Next up, we have OR. This one does the opposite. It broadens your search. So if you're looking for, say, cloud computing or virtualization, you're saying, show me results that have either of these terms. This is super useful when there are lots of synonyms or related ideas for your topic. You don't want to miss a great paper just because they used a different word, right? And the last one is NOT. This is your filter. It's for excluding stuff you don't want. So if you search for cybersecurity, not privacy, you're telling the system to find everything on cybersecurity, but to kick out any articles that also mention privacy. It's a great way to clean up your results when a topic has a common but irrelevant offshoot. Okay, deep breath. We've got our strategy, we've run our search, and now we have a big pile of potential sources. But here's the thing. Finding them is only half the battle. Now we have to move on to section 4, evaluating and organizing findings. We're going from information overload to actual, orderly insight. So before you commit to reading a whole 20-page paper, you got to run it through a quick mental checklist. First, credibility. Is it peer-reviewed? Who are the authors? Second,
relevance. I mean, does this actually help answer your specific research question? And third, impact. You can check things like citation counts or the journal's impact factor to see if this is a paper that people in the field are actually talking about.
For example, you might come across a paper with a citation count of, say, 2,500. Wow. Right away, that tells you something. It's a signal that this work is important, that it's had a real impact on the conversation in this field. But here's the critical thinking part. What does a high citation count really mean for your research? You have to ask yourself, is this paper cited a lot because it's a foundational piece that everyone agrees with? Or is it cited a lot because it's super controversial and everyone is arguing against it? See, the number just tells you it's significant. It's up to you to figure out why. Now, to avoid that feeling of just being buried under a mountain of PDFs, you need some tools. I'm talking about reference management software. Things like Zotero, Mendeley, or EndNote are lifesavers. They'll keep all your sources organized. And then, for actually making sense of the content, you can use things like a literature matrix or an annotated bibliography. And something like a literature matrix, which is basically just a table, is an incredibly powerful tool. You can see it here. You have columns for the source, the methodology they used, their key findings, and, this is the most important part, the research gaps they identified. This becomes your command center. It gives you this amazing bird's eye view so you can see where the conversation is, and, more importantly, where it isn't. That's where your work comes in. Okay, let's bring this home. Section 5, from search to synthesis. This is the final step where we take everything we found and organized and turn it into a coherent, compelling literature review. And the best way to think about a literature review is that it's not just a list of summaries. No, it's a story. You've got your introduction, where you define the scope and tell your reader why this topic matters. Then you have the body, where you organize everything by themes and you discuss what people have found and what they've missed. And finally, the conclusion, where you summarize the state of knowledge and point the way forward for future research. And one last, really crucial thing to remember. A literature search isn't something you just do once and then you're done. It's an iterative process. It's a cycle. The more you read, the more you learn, and the smarter your next search becomes. It's a living, breathing part of doing high-quality research. So there you have it. You've got the playbook now. You know how to go from just searching in the dark to launching a strategic mission with a clear map. You're equipped not just to find information, but to build on the entire landscape of human knowledge. So the only question I have for you is, what new knowledge are you going to build?